Welcome back to Off Grid at Mount Binga. In this episode, we're kicking off the office renovation, taking the old kitchen space from this to this. But first, a quick trip back in time. This is the room when the house was last being lived in. Well, half of it anyway. The other half of the kitchen was under a lean-to, which somehow got lost on the journey to Mount Binga. Fast forward 7 years, and this is the sorry state we found it in all those months ago. But as you've seen by now, a little dereliction never scared us off, and today we're starting to turn this forgotten corner into our new home office. Hi guys, I'm going to start tackling the floor in this room. This is probably the worst room that we've got in the whole house by a long shot. The walls are pretty flimsy, the floor's very rotten, and there's this cork lino thing which is covering the floor. Not really too sure what it is, what it's made of, so we're going to mask up and attack it with a couple of different jimmy bars and crowbars, whatever they're called, jimmy bars. Alright, let's get into it. Removing the old flooring sounded straightforward, but oh boy, it had other ideas. The cork flooring was stapled and glued to a rubber underlay, which was then stapled and glued and nailed onto the original floorboards in what felt like 1,000 places. And every single nail, staple and blob of glue had to be pulled off individually before we could remove the whole lot. And what I thought would only take an hour or two turned into most of the day and some of the next day. And somewhere in the middle I realised something. I actually prefer the precise, methodical, monotonous jobs, like carefully denailing timber, over the full-on brute force ripping jobs, like using 2 jimmy bars to leverage up bits of old cork flooring. We were about halfway through and it was time for the official site inspection. Yep, we passed with flying colours. But the moment tools were picked up again, Nino decided he had more important business elsewhere. Classic. Some people might call it monotonous, but I find it almost meditative. A bit like weeding the garden or checking the beehives. Satisfying when you've got the right tool and you just get into a rhythm. Of course, Byron was always there, gently reminding me that there was still half the room to go and offering plenty of expert technique advice from the sidelines.
We're going to do a bit of work in the spare bedroom / office, and we've got a fair bit of damage in here. It's our worst room in the house. We've got no wall here. That had an existing extension on it originally, or probably not originally, well, when it was in Brisbane, later on maybe. And this was the original kitchen. As you can see, there's a couple of old tiles there, but anyway, that backs onto the bathroom. We're going to remove that wall, take it down, rebuild it with proper framing pine, resheet it with some cladding. We're going to rebuild this wall, close it in. We've got some ply on this wall as well. And then this old wall here, the most rickety wall in the whole house, is going to get rebuilt as well. We're going to take this window out and we're going to open this up. I'll show you what window we're going to put in here. We've got this nice 4-pane window here. We're going to put it in here. So we're going to start with a bit of demo. We're going to peel off some architraves around this window, pop this window out, start taking all these VJs off this wall. We'll save them, we're going to reuse them. We're going to rebuild this wall, solid, and then we're going to strip the VJ off this wall, rebuild it, and put the VJ back on. That's today's mission. On the other side of this, single skin. These old houses were single skin back then. And as you can see here, she's a bit rickety. And because it's the bathroom, we're going to strengthen it up. We've also got to do a bit of work in this bathroom, but that's later on. So let's get stuck into this room first up.
The deeper we get into dismantling this old Queenslander, the more we're realising that not every piece of timber is worth saving. We found a fair bit of rot in places, the kind that no amount of filler or bog can properly fix. But honestly, that's part of what makes this project so interesting. Every day we're making decisions, salvage and restore where it makes sense, or replace for strength and longevity where it doesn't. And we're constantly balancing costs, practicality, how easy it will be to source something, and of course the look we're going for throughout the whole house. And since this isn't a heritage listed house, surprise, surprise, we've got the freedom to do it our way, in the way that's going to work best for us. This is going to be our home, and at the end of the day, we're the clients here. The client and the builder, but also the client.
Is it sharp, Georgie? Nice and sharp.
If pulling out nails is my kind of therapy, then framing new walls is definitely Byron's happy place. He's been looking forward to this part for weeks now. We'll talk more about the 100 lengths of timber we picked up in a later episode, but for now, just watch the carpenter at work, armed with his Hikoki nail gun, more on that later, his trusty 2 metre long stapler level, and his everyday carry of essential tools.
Just go into the corner as close as you can get. Ready?
Installing these big windows is very much a two-person job.
Lift and push. That's it.
Stuck at the top bit.
No, it's not. Lift and push.
It's not.
Alright, just hold it there, please. Just don't move it.
Yeah.
What you're not seeing is Byron constantly checking that everything is level, that everything's plumb, and making sure that the window frame is sitting perfectly proud of the studs. He's already thinking ahead to when we're putting the details back on, how thick they are, and any trims we'll be adding later. My job? Hold everything steady so it doesn't tumble out the other side, and to take many moments to admire the handiwork, because seriously, I know I'll be spending many hours in this room, and I'm already impressed. The light, the views, it's going to be amazing. And while I'm still admiring how it's all going, Byron is, yep, he's checking its level one more time.
So we've got this wall here built. As you can see, we're about to put the nogs in. Our nog height is at 1200, and we go up, down, up, down, up, down. Just easy to nail in when we go one high, one low, one high, one low. So let's throw them in.
So I thought I'd pull up here for a second and show you what this framing nail I've been using. One of our loyal viewers wanted me to talk a bit more about the tools that I use while I'm working, and I thought I'd pull up for a minute and show you guys what I'm actually using at the moment to get this room done and any other stud work done that you see me using this beast. Right here is the Hikoki framing nailer. It weighs about 4.7 kilos and it's a bit of a big thing to carry around, but it's gasless. It runs on air only. Obviously I have a battery plugged into it, my 5 amp Hikoki batteries that I have in a few other kits. When this thing's fully charged, this thing's an absolute weapon. All you have to do is load nails into it. Don't worry about gas or air hoses or anything like that, and you can just shoot away. So it has a little setting down here where you can put it into rapid fire mode. I've never even done that. I don't need to. It's pretty safe without it. You have to force the nozzle onto the timber, pull the trigger, take it off, repeat. Otherwise, when you have the trigger mode on, it's bang, 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 bang. And if you're not paying attention, you can shoot places you don't want to. So this is what we've been using lately. 4.7 kilos of pure power. Anyway, it's a great tool. I'll show you what nails they use. So what we got here is what they call a framing nail. It's 75mm long, about 3.3mm in thickness. They come in cards or strips like this. One of these fits perfectly into this gun, and these are Paslode nails, probably the better of the nails that you buy. For those that don't know, you can see here there's like a purpley pink strip on the end of them. Some have yellow, some have blue, but what that is actually the glue that they put on the nail. So when the nail goes into the timber, friction creates heat and it melts this glue, so when the nail goes into its final position, it's actually gluing itself in there. That glue will then dry inside the timber and it makes it harder for these nails to pull out. So with this 5 amp battery, you're supposed to get about 5 or 6 hours out of it. That's constantly shooting nails, so it'll be days before I have to change this battery over, which is just unreal. It only takes 20 minutes to charge a battery up, and I've always got them on charge. So as soon as this runs out, switch it up, new battery, go again. Anyway, that is the Hikoki framer. We better get back to work, eh? Can't sit around all day.
And that's it. The office renovation has officially begun. There is plenty more to do, but getting the framing and windows buttoned up feels like a massive milestone.
A couple hours later, and just like that, we've got this back bedroom buttoned up. Gee, I'm glad. It's the one that had no wall in it, and that old rickety window and that half wall falling down. So we've got the window in. We've got all our stud work done. We've also got it wrapped up in some air cell just to keep the rain out for now. The external side of the house there is ready for cladding, but as you can see, we still have a bit of work on the inside before we put any sheets on. Not to mention we need electrical roughing, which is a big part of the stage. This dodgy wall I talked about, I haven't touched yet. I've sort of got a brace getting used right next to it to hold this corner nice and plumb while I rebuilt it. So yeah, that's today's job. Now we have a view out down to the dam, which you can't see at the moment. What you can see is a fair bit of action happening with our sewage treatment plant, but that'll be coming up in a few episodes later on. We'll go through that in detail. She's all happening out here at Qlder, off-grid living. So this is the view from the outside. We've got some wrapping around it. We're going to clad that wall straight down in timber like the rest of the house. Full ply on that wall, and then there's our nice big window we've got in as well. Just ignore that plastic cladding, that's going to come off, but on another day. And we've got a little head trim to go out to keep the water off the window. That's for another day as well. As for the buttoning up the back room, we can call that done for now.
Next episode, we have some very welcome visitors, local plumbers, which means we're one step closer to having a flushing toilet here, and I cannot wait. If you're enjoying following along with this renovation, please give this video a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. See ya.